This is the RC Jet Jock. Oh, I just broke it. What's going on, guys? Jet Jock here, and we are so excited to be back in the shop because we're building a
MU-2!
That's right, guys. This is episode 1 of our scratch build series on the Mitsubishi MU-2. And to be more specific, we're actually building the Solitaire. Now, y'all are probably thinking that's a pretty strange airplane, but you know how we like unique airplanes, don't we? We don't like boring. And also, this one is very special to us. And why is that?
Because Pa used to build it.
That's right, guys. My father-in-law, their grandfather, actually used to build these at the San Angelo plant, and he always had such awesome stories, and just we can't wait to share those with y'all in the future. We're going to be doing a lot more than just building this airplane in this series. We're going to be talking about the history. We're going to be sharing those stories. We might even take a trip up to San Angelo to check out what's left of the factory. So stay tuned for that. Now, we put out our teaser a few days ago, and one of you guys commented if we were going to be sharing the plans as the thing goes. But I said it was complicated when I answered that comment, and that's because right here, these are the plans. They are not exactly the size, and you can see all my measurements and stuff in there. In fact, you know what? We're going to be going into today's episode, backtracking, you know, where we started with this project and how we got to where we are today. And we'll be explaining scaling and how we all made it work. So should we pass it along? Are we ready to do that? All right, so check it out. If you've been watching our channel for a while, you know our sweet spot's 80 inches. So, naturally, our MU-2 is going to be 80 inches. But how does that translate to scale? Just a side note before we get started, each one of our drawings was a different scale, of course. So, we're just going to stick to this one drawing here. That way, you can get the basic idea. Circled in the corner is the scales. The top number is the actual scale of the RC airplane, and the lower number is the scale of the drawing. Now, how do we come up with those numbers? First, we must measure the wingspan of the drawing, which was 7 3/16 of an inch, and then we'll convert that to decimal, which was 7.19 inches. Next, we'll take the wingspan of the real airplane, which was 39 feet 2 inches, and convert it into inches, which ends up being 470 inches. Now we'll take the wingspan of the real airplane and divide it by the wingspan of the drawing, and we'll end up with 65.37, and that will be our scale for the drawing. To figure out the scale of the RC airplane, we simply take the real airplane's 470-inch wingspan and divide it by 80 inches, which gives us 5.9, and that'll be the scale of the RC plane. Let's do an example so we can demonstrate how to use these numbers. Let's take this cross-section right here. It measures 0.5 inches. We will take that 0.5 inches and multiply it by 65.37, and that will give us how big that cross-section is on the real airplane. Now that we know that the cross-section is 32.69 inches, we will divide that by the scale of our RC airplane, which is 5.9, and we'll get the answer of 5.5 inches. Next, you'll take the side view of the airplane and run that same equation. Now that you've figured out how tall the piece was going to need to be, you slap those two measurements together and you come out with an oval. At least that's what I did. We hope this tutorial was helpful to all you jet jocks out there. If y'all have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments and we'll love to help y'all out. Now let's move on to materials. Because our construction method is very similar to the flight test guys, of course we got to bust out that hot glue gun. We're also going to be using pink insulation foam for the more molded shapes, and also Gorilla Glue and wood on the things that just need a little more strength. We ended up using Office Depot foam board. Yeah, it's a little more expensive than the Dollar Tree stuff, but I really did need some big pieces. So this 40 by 60 actually worked really well. Now let's take all of those equation answers and start drawing. As you can see, an 80-inch airplane doesn't exactly fit on a 60-inch piece of foam board. We started off by cutting out the side profile. Then, in 2 halves, we cut out the top profile, and then glued them on to either side of the side profile. Now, because the airplane was 80 inches long and the board was only 60, we made sure to overlap the top profile pieces on either side for overall strength. Now it's time to start cutting out rib pieces. As you can see, I used a real conventional compass. The larger cake pan was used for the outer diameter of the rib, and the smaller cake pan was for the inner diameter, or the inside hole. And then we would take those and simply hot glue them to the fuselage. And boy, this airplane was really starting to take shape. Next, we cut out 2 tapered spars and glued them to either side of the vertical stabilizer. Then we cut out 2 pieces of foam board that match the vertical stabilizer and removed the paper from one side. We remove the paper not only because it makes the foam board more pliable, but we can also sand it and shape it and make some nice, smooth, rounded edges. After that, we glued the 2 prepared sheets to either side of the vertical stabilizer, and voila, we got a tail. Then we hit our first engineering snag, the landing gear. We used some repurposed landing gear. The mains are from the Freewing 90mm F-16, and the nose gear is from the Freewing 90mm T-45. Now I say engineering snag because it did take us a few days to figure out how to reinforce these ribs so they can handle some of my, well, bad landings. Now on to our next engineering conundrum, the wing box. You know, this was a particularly tough one because the MU-2 doesn't have a lot of surface area that the wings mount to. So that was a particular challenge, just to make sure it was beefed up really well. So after the clamps and the soup cans were put away, it seemed like we came out with a pretty sturdy wing box. That wasn't it for my soup can buddies. It was time to start building the horizontal stab. Now, let's go take you back to the shop as we attach the horizontal stabilizer to the airplane. All right, guys, so now that y'all are all cut up, as we said, we were going to leave off on the horizontal stab. Now, I've since finished it off since the last picture. We went ahead and just like on the vertical stab, we took the paper off of the foam board and we just left this foam to be exposed. Now, y'all are probably wondering how we're going to cover this whole thing, and we plan on actually fiberglassing it. It's gonna look great, don't y'all think? Yeah! I love the enthusiasm, girls. But as you can see, we got our carry-through spar here. We have some carbon fiber reinforcement on the back side, so it's nice and rigid. It shouldn't give us any issues. Yeah, it's pretty rigid. Also, what we didn't have in the video is over here, as you can see, we got our mounting. We made like a little frame to mount the horizontal stab on, so it should be plenty of strong. Well, at least we...
The airplane's gonna fall off.
Real quick. So it should be plenty strong, right, girls?
Yeah.
So, now, can you wiggle the switch for me? Yeah, just wiggle it. There you go. Idle. So what we're going to be doing today is we are actually going to be attaching this on, and one of my lovely assistants is going to do it.
No.
Man, she just really knowed me. Oh, so you're doing it. Okay, so Donkey Girl's going to do it for us. So we'll have that to look forward to here in just 1 second. Before we do that though, how about we swing those landing gear for the first time? What do you think? Can you do it? Let's see what happens. Oh! Hey, it didn't fall. Okay, now put them down, hurry. Whew, that was a close call, huh? Is everything down? Yep, we got one main over here. We got 2 mains and a nose. Yep, so 3 greens, no red, guys.
And an earthquake just happened and this plane stayed on.
That was a miracle, huh? All right, so let's remove our cans here.
Hey, Donkey Girl, did you?
Can you remove those cans, Donkey Girl? Uh-oh, growing glue. All right, so we had the glue sitting in there upside down, so because we're kind of running low, that's kind of a common thing in this house. So,
Oh yeah, because you're using Gorilla Glue on this airplane.
yes, and this airplane's using a lot of it. All right, Donkey Girl, you ready? So we're gonna pre-glue the areas on our mounting block over here, and then Donkey Girl is going to slide it in for us. You ready?
I have
Okay.
a question. Do I turn off the radio?
Yes, you may turn off the radio. Thank you, honey. Okay, so here we go. Ah! Ooh, almost got glue in my mouth. That would have been bad.
Blech.
All right, so let's put a generous amount of glue in here.
It keeps dripping.
That's okay.
There.
This is all going to be internal, guys, so you won't even see any of these drips. All right, so I think we got it together. Just a second. Just a second.
It's almost like honey. This
All right, you got it right side up. So now lift it up, just like that, and then you're going to slide it in to those little notches there, and then we're going to push it all the way forward. All right, so I've actually got this thing already pre-measured, so it's going to be a good fit. So now we got to make sure that we have our carry-through spar up against the mounting wood that I have set in here. So let's check it out.
Ooh. You need to put a chuck on the other wheel.
All right, so that looks pretty good.
Now the airplane's just gonna go backwards.
All right.
Let's have a chuck. There. Now the airplane has chocks on the
All right, so that looks pretty good there. Everything's buttoned up against where it should. Now let's look at it from this direction. I know this is not the most scientific way of doing it, but okay, can y'all move that airplane so I can kind of get my bearings? There we go. And the horizontal stab appears to be straight from that angle. So,
I put chocks on the wheels.
thank you, honey. She did. That's very helpful.
Using screws.
Okay, now I'm gonna look at it from back here. Looks pretty good. Now, let me make sure it looks pretty dead on even. Let me look at it from up here now without hitting it. Yeah, we're good. All right, guys, that's gonna wrap it up for this week. I really hope that y'all got something out of this episode, and I really hope that y'all subscribe to our channel and tune in for future episodes with our MU-2 build. Take it away, girls.
Like, share, subscribe.
Bye.
I'm bringing the camera out.
Yeah, bring it out of here.